Previously on Efficient Build Plumbing. We brought in the water from the city. We covered everything from here up to the pressure reducing valve. In this episode, I'm going to be fixing this craziness that I have going here. I'm going to be installing the backflow preventer that goes into our emergency water tank for the fire sprinklers. We'll install this whole house water filter and a citrus-based softener. So let's get into it. Let me give you a quick overview of what we're doing. So we have the water from the city coming this way. It's coming up, and at this point, we're going to start creating branches. So from this point on, this is going to be the water supply for the plumbing of the whole house. Whereas this branch right here is going to be exclusively for the fire sprinklers. Now, what's going to happen here is I have the water coming in this way. Then I'm going to install this device called the backflow preventer. I'm going to then have an exit from, the water will exit this way and enter into our emergency water tank. We have a full video on that emergency water tank. It's, I believe, 5,000 gallons, and it's exclusive for the fire sprinklers. This device, what it does is that if any water comes back from the water tank, this device is going to prevent it from getting into the main line and contaminating the water from the city. This one, it's a bit overkill, I would say. Most jurisdictions are okay only with a check valve, but in our case they require a backflow preventer, so that's what we are doing. So we'll cover all the details for the fire sprinklers in a future episode. We have the city water coming this way, and the first device we have is this one right here. This one, it's a whole house water filter and a leak detector. So what it does is you connect it to the internet, and it's going to keep track of your usual consumption of water. If it finds a discrepancy, it's going to shut itself off and send you a notification that you might have a leak so that you can take a look at it. From here, we're going to come out, and we're going to get now into this device. This is our water softener. It's interesting, it's citrus instead of salt. We'll talk about why we chose this one in a moment. And from here, the water, now that it's filtered and softened, it's going to come out this way. And here is where we're going to split it into the supply for cold water and hot water. But that connection is going to be in a future plumbing video. You see, I have this branch right here. So this one is a bypass. The reason is that if I need to change the filter, maintenance, or something to these devices, I can divert the water to go this way, and I can continue having water in the house while I do the maintenance here. Well, if you thought we put that video accidentally on reverse, nah, it's not the case. I actually dismantled everything that I had, and here's the reason why. I found out that this filter, it has fittings like this one, so it comes in at 3/4, then it grows to 1 inch. When it comes out, it's 1 inch, goes back to 3/4, and when it gets to that device, it's 1 inch again. So it didn't make any sense, so I decided to do everything in 1 inch. Is going to be better for the system. And I have everything that I'm going to use right here. And first of all, I want to thank our friends from PlumbingSell, because they are sponsoring this video. They send me all these fittings as well as most of the tools that I am using. So check them out, I recommend them. And now let me talk a little bit about why I like to use these fittings, which are push to connect. The speed of installation when compared to other methods is pretty considerable with push to connect. So for example, this one, it's a PEX-A expansion fitting. If I want to do this connection, I have to cut my pipe, install this sleeve, then I need to expand it, insert the fitting, and then I need to keep holding it until it closes a little bit. Whereas with push to connect, all I have to do is mark the depth of my fitting to make sure that I make a good connection. I insert it, and I'm all set. Now, let's say that pipe turns out to be smaller or larger than what I needed. No problem. All I have to do is pick up one of my removal tools, and I can remove the fitting, make my adjustment, install it again, and that's it. You don't waste any fittings or have to rescue them somehow. Another big advantage is, if you are short on space, these are actually more compact than PEX-A. Where did I leave it? Here. For example, if I put it here, it seems to be about the same size. But here is the key. If I need to install another fitting, the problem with expansion is that I need to allow space for my installation too. So even though the fitting could be here, I actually need to leave more space. If you are limited on space, this is great. Another big advantage is that I can use it with pretty much all types of pipe. This one is PEX-B, this one is PEX-A, and I have also used it in copper, and it works great. Now, there are obviously a few disadvantages. The very first one is price. These ones are more expensive than the traditional fittings. The second one that it's more concern for people is the way this one does the connection is because it has an O-ring inside. So the concern is that the O-ring might wear over time or that it might get damaged and then it might cause a leak. That said, the way I look at it is these fittings, if you make sure that you make the right connection and you have only inserted the pipe once or twice, then you shouldn't have to worry. If you use the same fitting and you keep removing and inserting, then that might damage the O-ring and a leak would be more likely. In my opinion, if you do it right, you don't have to worry about it. In my case, everything I have in here is exposed. If there's ever some damage, I'm going to see the leak right here, but just know that some people don't like to put these ones behind walls. Okay, so I prepared this pipe, and what I am seeing is that the way the pipe fits, it's different between these fittings and the ones I have the reference for with my orange tool right here. So I actually need to make an adjustment because this turned out to be higher. Before I start assembling, I like to do a dry run to make sure that I have all the fittings that I need. Here is the water line coming in. These are all the fittings I'm going to need for the backflow preventer, get into the tank, get out of the tank. And then over here, I have my bypass going that way. If I continue straight, I'm going to have my water filter. Then I'm going to go up. I have a T for non-treated water. Then I have my water conditioner. And then I join everything in here to go into the cold and hot water split. So this is the device we're using. It's from General Electric and it has two purposes. One is it filters the water for the whole house, and the second one is that it has a leak detector and you can operate it remotely from your phone, so you can close the water remotely and whatnot. Now the installation is supposed to be pretty simple, but I already ran into a problem. Let me show you. The instructions come with this template, but the problem is that it's not to scale. So if I use my part and I try to align it, if you see, if I align it with this top letter E, the second one is going to be cropped. So if I make the hole there, it's not going to have any sense. What I ended up doing was assembling this part to the rest of the filter. And what I am doing now is I am aligning my pipe where it needs to go with the one below, and then centering it with the one I have above. Once I have this, now I'm going to mark my template so that I have the right size and I know how to make the right holes. Okay, so I have already mounted this part and it's already level. The next part is preparing the filter for installation. First thing, you can turn the pipe so that you can install it horizontally or vertically, but just be very careful because if you see here, there is an outlet and an inlet. So you need to make sure that you are installing it in the right direction. The next thing is installing these mounting plates. Here's a little tip. There is an L for the left one and a right for the right one. This is not included in the instructions, but every time you're going to use push to connect fittings, it's good to mark where they need to go and mark a line. I already did it here on the filter and also on my pipe. So with that, I can start installing. We have a little challenge with this connection. So the fitting is going to go in. The problem is that this pipe is wider than usual, so the pipe stiffener from the fitting is not letting us get in. So we're going to remove it with some pliers. Check this out, it's coming together and it's looking very nicely. The thing with push to connect fittings is that, as with any other system, you need to make sure that you are installing it correctly. So the very first thing I would say is you need to have a very nice clean cut on the pipe. I am using this cutter from eField. I got it from PlumbingSell and it's cutting like butter. I really like it. That's the first step. Now the second step is I like to deburr the pipe. I have one of these devices and I have seen some people say that you don't need to do that if it specs, but the thing is, remember that inside the push to connect fitting, you are going to have an O-ring. So in my view, the smoother the surface, the better chances of preventing leaks and having a longer life for the fitting. Now this is something else that you need to look out for. In this case, I'm doing the installation. This is very heavy, and if you look into this fitting, it's actually slipping a little bit downwards because this one is putting pressure on it. So this is a potential leak. So what I'm going to do is, once I do all my installation, I'm going to make sure that I have support so that this one is going to be straight and my fittings are not going to be under pressure. There are two more prep things we need to do. One is removing the plastic cover from the actual filter. It's funny that the instructions mention it, so probably somebody has installed it without doing that. I'm putting my finger in to make sure that I have removed it properly. And the next thing is going to be just applying the lubricant to the O-ring, and then we should be all set. Okay, so now I'm going to complain a little bit more about this stupid thing right here. So you need the app to open this thing. It has this button here, but it's really hard to do it unless you have the app. And I finally have the app. So let's see. I need to do... Let me turn it off in here. I cannot... There we go. It's difficult with one hand, but there we go. So you press something here, and now this lever just keeps going, and I can just imagine the engineer saying, oh, it's going to be so awesome. People will be like, oh, wow, I can open it with my phone. Just look at how much time this stupid thing is taking. I mean, I wish this was just press a button, move it, and then you're all set. But no, you have to wait for the magic to happen. Anyways, I'm doing this because I need to remove the filter also to apply some lubricant. And I'm going to give you another tip. This is another stupid design from this thing. When you lift this lever, this just goes out, and then the sump is just going to fall. There's nothing holding it. It's just this lever. So you need to be pretty careful when you're going to remove it. Make sure you hold it, because otherwise it's going to end up on the floor. So we are ready now to open the system. So first off, you should notice I have fixed the wonkiness I had in here. It now looks normal. Right now the water is coming this way and it's going through the bypass. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to close the shut-off valve that it's sending everything through the bypass, and I'm going to open this one. It's important to note that I have the water filter set to off. That's why this thing is up. So what this is going to do is it's going to fill this line up to the water filter, but it's going to stop right here so we can check for leaks. So I close the bypass, I open the line for this one, but turns out that if this one is off, it's preventing the water from actually getting into the filter. So I'm going to have to open it. And this is another complaint I have with this thing. To open it, you need the app. So if you are in new construction, if you don't have power, or if you are the plumber and you don't want to be installing apps on your phone because you're not the homeowner, well, you have to do it. I'm going to open this one, but I'm not sure if the water is going to stop here or if it's actually going to start going through the rest of the line and reach the nouveau. We're going to have to prepare the nouveau, which is pretty simple. It has this little valve right here. So we need to open it just a bit. We're not removing it. Opening it just a bit because this is going to tell us when the nubo is full. And this one stays closed because we need to let the water rest in the nubo for at least 1 hour before we send it to the rest of the house. You will notice I have this open pipe right here. I'm relying on this thing to work perfectly and nothing to come out. But in case anything happens, I'm ready with my plug to just put it in. So let's get going.
Apágale.
We had a problem. So here's the thing. I dropped this thing accidentally and it broke, and I tried to repair it, but when we put it on, obviously it didn't work. So here's another reason to hate this thing. When I called to get a replacement for this, they don't sell them. So I actually had to buy a brand new device to get just this stupid thing. But anyways, it's on now, so we're going to turn the water again and see how it goes. So it seems this whole video is about how much I hate this thing. So here's another reason why I hate it. I want to open the water, but I cannot operate this unless I have my iPhone with me. Okay, let's turn this thing on. So it worked this time. I'm super happy. We no longer have the big leaks. So the only thing I need to do now is go with my little piece of paper and check for leaks in all these connectors, which is the part of the system that I just turned on. Both of these devices say that you have to let them rest a little bit and then run a certain amount of water. So I'm just going to water the plants or something. So thankfully it worked. We no longer have these big leaks of water flowing all over the place. The next thing I did was I just went with my toilet paper and checked all these fittings for leaks, and everything is looking fine. Now the only thing is these two devices, you need to fill them with water and let it rest for a bit and then run a certain amount of water to clean them up. I'm going to wash the car, water the plants or something. Now, if you think that my hatred with this thing is over, it's not. Turns out that this thing, they advertise it as the whole home filtration system, but in reality it's not. Once you put the filter in, it only allows for 8 or 9 gallons of water per minute. That's barely 2 showers, and if you flush the toilet, you're pretty much screwed. So at some point I'm going to replace it. So more content for you guys, that's the good news. Now with that, this is pretty much done. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I was going to install this backflow preventer. This one is for the water tank for the fire protection system, but I'm not going to do it in this video. I'll make another one for you guys. So with that, we're pretty much done with this thing. Thank you so much for watching us, and don't forget to build efficiently. Unlike me on this video.